Hey guys, how's it going out there today? I hope everything is fantastic wherever you guys are in the world. Here in Tokyo, Japan, had a great day. It's Sunday evening. This is Monday evening's video, and I had a great Sunday with my family. Headed out there, but it's late now. I'm absolutely exhausted after a long day with the family. I've got work tomorrow, and I'm trying to get this daily content on the go. So it's been a long day. It's going to get a little bit longer as I make this video and prep it for tomorrow. But you know what? Talking about shoes every single day isn't a bad thing to be able to do. And let's do it by getting into this one today. So I'm going to jump right into it from the very beginning. I usually save this till like minute number 2 in the video or something like that, but I was just kidding about this shoe being a rip-off. It's a play on words because the main feature on the shoe, which is running behind me here on the green screen, is the fact that the tongue branding has been switched out for Velcro blocks, Velcro squares that are interchangeable and take off and put on a ball, and there are 6 different courts throughout New York City, basketball courts of course, and representing all 6 of those on one sneaker by using Velcro to rip off one square and put the other one back on. So these guys are literally a rip-off. They're not a rip-off financially. Actually, there's some really cool details on these ones, especially one specific place that's got an interesting look and an interesting number on it. And then there's another place that has a funny looking font. So we're going to get into some of the details of this shoe right now as we take a close-up look at the Nike Air Force 1 New York versus New York. This is the Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker channel. Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker channel des Mainichi, Absurdo de Mainichi Miku Desai. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I can bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And I'm laughing because I just messed up the Japanese there when I was meant to say Mainichi Miku Desai and I said Mainichi Miku. But anyway, yes, watch every day. Mainichi Miku Desai means watch every day because I do this every single day. And here we are with an Air Force 1, which isn't uncommon in my channel. And I wouldn't mind betting either these or LeBron 17s. I'm not sure which I've done the most of, but I wouldn't mind betting Air Force 1s the most, at least in the last 6 months. It seems like there have been an awful lot of Air Force 1s, and they started off with some interesting looking, changes to the physical silhouette. This is a 38-year-old shoe, and that classic Air Force 1 silhouette hasn't really changed much. But then in recent times, so the last 6 months ago, they were chipping away at it and changing things with the lateral side and the wings and things like that. But the last 3 months or so, they brought out some really classic silhouettes that stay true to the original shoe. And particularly I'm thinking about 2 things. One is the Puerto Ricos here, and the reason why I want to put up the Puerto Ricos is because it's a very simple 2-tone shoe, and that's going to be reflected in today's shoe, especially when you look at, for example, the sole being a different color from the rest of the shoe, and then the branding down on the lower part of the heel there. But then there's a simpler shoe, which is the Drew League. And I'd like to bring up the Drew League as well because it is a very simple shoe, and you can see how not having that coloured outsole and not having that coloured branding on the heel on the lateral side where it usually says Air, well it does say Air, it's just white on white, makes it harder to see. And that's good to compare to today's shoe, so you can see what a difference it makes to have colour in those 2 places. But also being the Drew League, that's a league in Los Angeles that comes out every summer, and the 6 courts, let's flip back to those 6 badges that go at the top of the tongue there. The 6 courts that are being celebrated today, it's all about their summer leagues, once the off season has come around from the NBA. But what's going to happen this year? Who knows what's going to happen this year? Even what I think of as the biggest summer league or summer tournament or off season basketball event on the calendar, the K54 in Paris, right in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower. And we'll put up the Jordans from this year. I think I'll put up the Earth Tone Jordan 6s because that's my favourite of the 3 shoes that are dropping in relation to that event. But we still don't know for sure right now anyway whether or not that's going to go ahead because of the coronavirus. They're talking about extending the NBA season throughout into the summer, well into the summer past when it normally would be, and doing it at, is it Disney World or Disneyland or somewhere like that. And of course that's going to affect any summer leagues that are out there and summer tournaments and stuff. So it's unfortunate that this year, when they're celebrating 6 of the biggest courts in New York City, those courts are going to be somewhat less used this summer because everybody's going to be down in Florida or wherever it is they're going to be holding the rest of the NBA season. So, but it's still a cracking looking shoe, and there's still a good story behind it, and there's still some interesting features on it to look at. So we're going to do that and have a close up look. So we'll go over to the lateral side so I can show you again, like I was saying, I've already showed you the Puerto Puerto Rico is a two-tone shoe, which didn't drop, by the way, because of the tongue branding on them. If you don't know about that, there's some interesting videos out there about that. But it does give you that white base with the sort of deeper second color on there. And then the Drew League ones, which are a very white shoe. So now we're on to the lateral side of today's shoe, the New York versus New York, so you can really get an idea of where the color placement is and what that sort of standard Air Force One silhouette's doing for us today. You know, you can see it laterally with the thin strip of colour on the outsole there. Then that branding on the heel. Now I'll go down to that branding on the heel where you can see the Air with the line that runs around to the medial side in there, and you can see that it is coloured, which it gives that definition. Like I said, on the Drew League ones, white on white didn't give that definition. And then above that you've got the classic signature, that's the word I'm looking for, the signature branding on this shoe, NY VS, and I think I'm right in saying it's got a swoosh in the middle of the VS, and then NY, but when you really get up close to it, it looks almost like bamboo font to me. I'd love to know your comments down below what you think of this font, and whether or not it's meant to look like bamboo or Chinese or something like that. But to me it's got a sort of Chinese feel to it, but that doesn't match the story of the shoe. 6 outdoor street basketball courts in New York City and bamboo font doesn't seem to go together. So if you know anything more about that font on there, let me know in the comments down below. But that's one of the major features on the shoe, is that NY VS NY. And looking on that VS there where I said it's interrupted a bit by that swoosh, like I was saying, and the S in particular is kind of hard to see because it's been interrupted. But where it's not hard to see, and there's something interesting about this, is if you go to the bottom of the lacing system to the Dubré, or the Dubrés, because there's one on each foot. And I've always liked it when the Air Force One plays around here. Often they have AF1 on their Dubrés down there, but in the case of these guys, they've gone with that NY VS NY, and two things about that. One that you might not have thought about, but you know, maybe today I'll be giving you that thought for free. One is that it's a deliberately sort of weathered looking Dubré down there. It's not a clean shiny silver thing. It's got a bit of texture to it. I don't think it feels rough. I think it will feel smooth. It just looks like it's got a bit of sort of tough, roughed up kind of weathered feel to it. But the other thing is it's got that NY VS NY right there on the Dubré. But if you look at the VS, that S looks an awful lot like a 5 to me. I can't stop seeing it as a 5 once I started seeing it as a 5. I don't know how you guys will feel about it now that I've pointed out that it looks like a 5. NYV5 NY doesn't quite fit the story of the shoe, but you know, it's a small detail. It doesn't really matter much, but it's always to me it's always a good thing when the Air Force One guys are playing around with the Dubrés. So and then if we go up from that and onto the top of the tongue, we'll get to that square of branding that I was talking about, the Velcro that you can literally rip off of these shoes. And what that means is the Nike Air branding that you normally see up there is gone, and that's you know, making way for the signature feature of this shoe. Like I said, the 6 different panels that you can choose to put on there. I suppose you could put a different panel on each foot to celebrate 2 of the courts at once. You know, that's up to you. Mismatched basketball courts on your Air Force Ones. I think I've already gone past the swoosh, but I might not have mentioned it, but the black swoosh on the white side here, giving it that definition as well. And it looked to me, there was a funny angle that I looked at, it almost looked like the swoosh was a little bit off of the shoe, but it might just have been a quirk of the photograph I was looking at, but it did look like there was a bit of space between the swoosh and the shoe itself. But that's it'll be interesting to see when we get these guys in hand. So and then round to the back of the shoe, to the last thing to look at on them, well, second last thing really, is the branding on the back, which is that's the typical Nike Air branding. I think I'm right in saying it's black writing on a white background, so they haven't gone with anything special on there, like NY VS NY or anything to do with the basketball courts. But then flipping them upside down, this is the last thing to do, is like I said before, it's a black outsole on there, and that gives it a little bit of definition. It gives it a lot of definition when you're looking at it upside down like we are here. But then if we flip back to the lateral side, and you see that thin strip of black down the bottom there to give a little bit of hit of colour, a bit of definition, and of course with the black swoosh up on top, that really sort of balances out the thickness of the white on there. If we bring back that Drew League shoe that I was talking about before, you can see how white a shoe that is, and without the definition on it, which is good because you want to be looking at the Drew League branding on there. But then back to today's, you can see that black and white sort of silhouette, colorway I should say. Speaking of the silhouette though, it is just a classic Air Force One silhouette. But I've said already as I've gone through this gear, the Drew Leagues and the K54s, and there's 3 K54 shoes, they might be worth a lot of money in future years if they're cancelled, as they probably will be. And then this shoe as well today, it might be worth some money down the years if there's no summer leagues going on or summer basketball going on in New York City. So it might be something that's worth sort of getting your hands on and holding on to see if you can make a fast buck on it a few years down the line. But who knows what's going to happen in the future. Right now it seems like every day or every week is changing quite rapidly, but for now what I can be is I can be consistent for you guys in doing this every single day, which I enjoy doing, and hopefully you enjoy the content. Thank you very much for checking it out today, and as I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.